And as we were getting to the live broadcast of the Business Leadership Conclave, it's also live on republicworld.com. You can catch the live streaming of the entire show. Here are the headlines on This Is Exclusive. Republic gets more proof of how India decimated Pakistani terror camps during Operation Sindoor. Pictures on the show. Republic with super exclusive visual inputs from Muridke. Pictures of jihadi infrastructure lying in ruins post Operation Sindoor. Rahul Gandhi's close aide Sam Pitroda bats for Pakistan, says felt at home when he visited Pakistan. Singer Zubeen Garg passes away after a scuba diving accident in Singapore. On This Is Exclusive, ladies and gentlemen, we have pictures, and pictures don't lie. Pakistan can keep lying about facts of Operation Sindoor. But here's the truth. Our first exclusive input this evening on This Is Exclusive, the aftermath of Operation Sindoor. The visuals that we have accessed confirm that Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahideen have begun a deliberate strategic relocation into Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. The decision, these are exclusive pictures on Republic, which also reflects a significant tactical adaptation by Pakistani terror groups, which now view POK as vulnerable to Indian precision strikes, while other regions like the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa offer greater depth due to their geography, proximity to the Afghan frontier. And these inputs indicate that the movement is being conducted with full awareness and direct facilitation of Pakistan's state structures, as evidenced by overt JEM gatherings held under police protection. These are pictures that we've accessed, and we destroyed their terror camps, we destroyed their infrastructure, and they're moving towards the Afghan border. Let's go across to the second set of pictures. More exclusive inputs on Republic, suggesting that the Hizbul Mujahideen under former Pakistani commando Khalid Khan is also constructing a new training facility which is called HM 313 in an area called the Bandai area in lower district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. This land was discreetly purchased in August 2024. Construction resumed post-Operation Sindoor. And this facility is intended to be a replacement for destroyed POK camps and a platform for indoctrination and cross-border planning in Kashmir. Shravan is joining us live along with Major Samarpal Toor on this story. So, Shravan had accessed those pictures over the weekend of how Pakistan was dismantling terror infrastructure. Now, what the pictures show is, Shravan, that was one aspect of it. But today we know that they are moving out of POK, perhaps going towards the Afghan border. They know we'll hit them closer to POK, isn't it? That's the reason.
Well, in fact, multiple set of pictures that have now been accessed by Republic TV, Ranjit, clearly goes on to indicate that these are just not speculation. It is a clear indication of the fact that the message has been sent across. The message is very clear that from multiple precision strikes that have been carried out so far, be it during Balakot or for that matter in Uri, and of course as recently as Operation Sindoor, what has become very clear is that these Pakistani terror hubs are no longer safe. They are within the safe distance of Indian agencies as well as the armed forces, and we can target them as per our will. Now, what you see right now, these pictures that we have basically accessed, and these are from, this is a clear indication of how the reconstruction has essentially begun of the terror camps. But interestingly, this is no longer in Pakistan occupied Kashmir itself. Yes, there are certain camps that they are once again trying to rebuild. But having said that, their major terror facilities in terms of commander training facilities, these are all now being shifted out. We are being told that this is in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa that they have essentially started. That is Jaish-e-Mohammed as well as Hizbul Mujahideen as well as Lashkar Taiba is concerned. Lashkar Taiba is pretty much once again trying to rebuild their terror camps in those areas which have been completely demolished by the armed forces during the 7th of May Operation Sindoor that was carried out. But as far as Jaish is concerned, as well as uh, Hizbul Mujahideen, they have essentially their entire target, their entire focus have now changed. They've basically moved into Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Now, they have also carried out what they say that their recruitment drive. This was the Manshera recruitment drive in which they've essentially announced the amount of money that is essentially required for them to rebuild. Now, if you actually take a closer look at each of the speeches that have been made by Ilyas Kashmiri, it is very, very clear of what they're essentially trying to do. I'm just going to try and explain the pictures that we have on our screens. Now, these are this is basically soon after the rally that was basically carried out in Manshera, and this is the Markaz that they are basically trying to expand at this point in time. And in fact, we do have a video. Niranjan, I'm not too sure if we can just play out that video that has been accessed. The video is part of the construction which is basically underway, and we are being told that this was about sometime last month when it basically started. And we also have pictures, the boundary walls of the camp that has been relocated of the Hizbul Mujahideen, and that is in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and the exact areas, Bandai area of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where you have Hizbul Mujahideen basically carrying out their entire structure.
Yeah. Major Samar Paltur, their strategy has changed after Operation Sindoor, and we expected that. But what we didn't expect is this drastic dismantling. They're clearly spooked, looking at the manner in which they've broken down their existing infrastructure.
I mean, they are in panic, and you see that anxiety, that fear of the unknown, that paranoia, and I mean, they're trying to, they're doing their best to get in financially backward families. They're trying to influence them. They're requesting families to get in the youngsters for jihad against India. But they're finding it very difficult to do it. They're finding it very difficult to convince, because after the destruction, and mind you, it has been the Pakistan public which has made it amply clear to the world about the amount of destruction that has taken place during Op Sindoor. It is them who's made these recordings of our missiles and drones hitting their targets. So again, you know, the old days of the American drones dropping bombs in public gatherings and, you know, funeral processions. So those dark memories definitely have been refreshed. The Orthodox people there are very reluctant to send their children over here in these gatherings. And the game changer will be that during daytime, if any of the strike takes place onto a gathering of the jihadis, is going to give a message to all of them once and for all that we are serious about it. And trust me, our satellites are getting the live feed, and thanks to channels like yours, Republic TV, who's getting the, you know, intelligence and the information to the public of India, that if this is the status of what they are doing despite Operation Sindoor, so I think Operation Sindoor 2.0 is not very far away. If this is the attitude of the terrorist tanzeems and the Pakistani government, if this is how they're going to handle things, they will face issues, not only here, but they're going to face issues even at the border of Yemen and Saudi Arabia. I mean, these are messages to read between the lines. They are playing with fire, with whatever strategic alliances they are doing, whatever they are trying to do, and stepping away from China, moving towards America. That only shows the desperation of US, you know, pressure on Pakistan. And China has already perturbed with Pakistan in their attitude towards CPEC. They pulled out of many projects. So Pakistan is setting its own death trap it is digging the well so deep, it will become difficult for it to come out. You cannot spread your legs more than the bed sheet. That is what exactly it is doing. And there will be a time that they will be overstretched and they will realize the blunders that they're committing today. They will pay for them heavily in the times to come.
In fact, we have another exclusive input on the show this evening, and let me go cross straight to that. After India's precision strike on 7th May that targeted the Lashkar Taiba headquarters, the Markaz Taiba headquarters in Muridke, Pakistan, it now appears to be actively rebuilt. The destroyed terror infrastructure is being rebuilt. The strike successfully hit the 1.1 acre complex. Now, in the aftermath, Lashkar began demolition. We are hearing, according to our sources, using 5 JCB machines, with the yellow training and residence building also fully demolished by the 4th of September, and the three-story structure also demolished by the 7th of September. A debris clearance is now underway. Those are exclusive pictures coming in, with reconstruction aimed for completion by nearly by 5th of February. There's a specific date that has been set, we are told, by terrorists, according to our sources in the intel. Despite international pressure, what is clear that Islamabad has reportedly pledged 4 crore Pakistani rupees to fund the rebuilding of this terror infrastructure, while Lashkar has launched deceptive fundraising campaigns to restore its terror operations. Shravan, this is fantastic information that we've picked up. It actually just goes on to expose Pakistan further. You know, when you look at also, let's look at this before I go across to Shravan, how India struck Pakistan. If you go through the full details of it, right? Pakistan trying to pick up the pieces is going to be very, very difficult after India's Operation Sindoor strike. The Lashkar Markaz Taiba was struck by India on the 7th of May 2025, and 3 core buildings in the 1 acre complex were hit in the Muridke strikes by our armed forces. And 2-story buildings, the red 2-story building, that's the one there, was used for weapon storage that was directly hit by our forces in Operation Sindoor. There were 2 yellow buildings as well, which housed senior commanders. That too was destroyed during India's strike during Operation Sindoor. The Lashkar Taiba has begun the demolition of the other damaged structures using JCB machines. So they may be under the illusion that India doesn't know. But of course, we have our eyes, and Republic, through its sources, even in Pakistan, has been able to access these pictures and videos. These training complexes, residences inside the Markaz, which is the Lashkar headquarters, was fully razed that is demolished by the 4th of September. And a red 3-story building was demolished by the 7th of September this month. So systematically, we have the details of how they demolished the buildings and how they're planning to reconstruct it. The debris clearance has begun before the reconstruction. Let me go across to both Shravan and Samar Paltur, who are joining us. And Islamabad, of course, has been trying to gather funds. They've been going begging from one agency to the next. Shravan, just to look at how they've sort of tried to rebuild their terror infrastructure. And it's fantastic, the kind of eyes that India has in Pakistan. You can't really cheat us. We know exactly what's happening. We know our next targets if we were to strike them again. But how are they regrouping? How is the Lashkar regrouping? Because Hafiz Saeed is still alive, right? And India is watching him.
Well, Niranjan, before I get into the specifics of it, the brass tacks of it, many are basically asking this question: how on earth do we have really our hands on this kind of a video? This is no longer still images that what we have seen. Now, let me just tell everyone who's watching this exclusive tonight with you, Niranjan, that these videos that we have accessed, this is not just limited to human intelligence. The fact that we have also got CCTV footage. In fact, if you see on the 7th of night, We have specific details of the Lashkar Taiba Markaz that was completely demolished, and specifics of the number of targets that were basically carried out. We have CCTV footage. Now that basically indicates the kind of access that we essentially have and the people that we have on the ground in terms of human intelligence. That's number one. Number two, what is important to point out here, why there is a complete collusion between the Pakistani army, the military, as well as the terrorist groups. Now, it turns out, now on the day when India and Pakistan cricket match was actually happening, you had in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, there was this entire program that was organized by the Jaish-e-Mohammed, and Ilyas Kashmiri was actually present there. Ilyas Kashmiri, remember, happens to be one of the most wanted. It's a high-value target as far as India is concerned. In that, remember, there was a clear mention of the fact that how they essentially need to rebuild. And this time, they are no longer hiding. They are no longer saying that Pakistani military is behind. In fact, you have had Pakistani military present when Ilyas Kashmiri was actually making those announcements in terms of the timeline that they were putting out and how they would have essentially carried out the entire reconstruction process. So this time, in fact, there is one picture that has now been accessed by Republic TV, and in fact, you would see that you have had one of the inspector, Liaquat Shah of the Gadi Habibullah police station, being present when you have had Ilyas Kashmiri carrying out with his own speech. Now, that is the CCTV footage that we have accessed. Now, that shows that within about 10 seconds to this CCTV footage is when the first target happens, and there are multiple targets that we have basically neutralized. And that is exactly the footage that we have essentially had. The number two, the other important aspect that is important to highlight here is that there are new groups that they're coming. Like, for instance, Jaish-e-Mohammed has come up with another group, and it is named as Jaish-e-Mohammed Al-Murabitun. Now, Al-Murabitun is quite similar. It's the same alias that Jaish has actually used in Africa, and that same has now been brought in. So you have new groups being named, new groups essentially to avoid any kind of sanctions to be brought in. So these are the modus operandi to a certain extent similar, but again, some infusing some changes so that international attention does not come up. So they are now saying that we are basically raising money through flood relief, which is pretty much similar what we had seen in the past, but now they have brought in digital funding that has basically come into the picture. So there are some changes, but then again, the same old.
Thank you for that, Shravan, and thank you, Major Samarpal Tur. We'll bring you back and have a much more detailed conversation on this, because it's important. Like Shravan said, many even in Pakistan wondering how Republic got its hands on these pictures of the terror camps. Not the terror camps we struck, but the terror camps they're now trying to rebuild, and the pictures of the rebuilding operations. Well, we know everything that happens in Pakistan. So let's leave it at that for now. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we had on This Is Exclusive. Thanks for watching. The debate coming up at 8 p.m. with Arnab.